This is a chapter from the book Pakistan Army's First Warlord, who led its longest war, General Douglas Gracey, and the Kashmir War of 1947-48. Gracey's northern areas failures. Gracey was a pathetic failure in the northern areas, like all his other failures, and this part deals with his failures in the northern areas. Gracey totally ignored the northern areas of Gilgit and Baltistan, despite the fact that Pakistani position in this area was most advantageous in terms of holding the strategic Zojila pass, a bottleneck against which the Indians had no alternative route, and in besieging an Indian garrison in Leh. The simple action that Gracey had to take was to send some anti-tank guns to Zojila Pass, where Pakistani commanders had clearly expressed apprehensions that Indians may use tanks. This was clearly on record, but Gracey did not bother to do anything. Anti-tank guns, of course, were readily available, but Gracey was practicing the policy of look busy and do nothing. It was Gracey's job as Pakistan Army's chief to assess these operational matters. However, as an infantry officer, Gracey had no understanding of these matters. He was absolutely dumb and blank, or perhaps it was by intention. Gracey had no interest in a crucial strategic area captured by Pakistani irregulars. He selected the most pathetic commander for this area, who had near zero command experience, having been a prisoner of war of the Japanese for most of his service in the Second World War, whereas Gracey had a vast choice of seasoned officers to command the northern area sector. Lieutenant Colonel Ghulam Jillani, who had little to do with the actual conquest of Gilgit and Baltistan, callously dismissed apprehensions by lower Pakistani commanders that Indians could employ tanks in the most strategically crucial Zojila Pass, as Pakistan Official History of 1970 noted, page 36, the Kashmir Campaign, Pakistan Army's Official History, published in 1970. This was clearly reported to Ghulam Jillani about Indian tanks, but Ghulam Jillani again was a most pathetic character, and sadly this character was later on promoted, served as the commandant of the Pakistani Staff College, became a major general, and in the end, of course, sought political asylum in the USA. Overall, a disgraceful chapter of Pakistani history. Sadly, Pakistan Army had outstanding veterans like Major Aslam Khan, Military Cross, who knew the area like the palm of his hand and were miles superior to characters like Colonel Mia Ghulam Jilani and another character Qureshi. Instead, Gracey, in his typical bias against Kashmir state officers, made the Himalayan blunder of trusting the crucial northern areas to a man who had spent 40 months as a Japanese PW while ignoring a war hero and decorated military cross of the Second World War. Jilani was assisted by another highly mediocre officer from the Pakistan Army named Qureshi, who actually weakened Pakistani position at Zojila by withdrawing most of the troops assigned to the winter quarters, as noted by page 36 and 37, the Pakistani Official History, the Kashmir Campaign. As per various direct participants of this war, and Major Gerald, the hero of Zojila, who the scribe interviewed in 1979-90, Major Qureshi, in order to escape cold weather, gave totally false and fabricated reports to Colonel Mia Ghulam Jilani that Indians had withdrawn from opposite Zojila and there was no possibility that Zojila Pass could be attacked. This was Major Qureshi, the assistant, the brilliant assistant of Colonel Mia Ghulam Jilani. Absolute disasters, both of these characters. The result was absolute disaster, and Indians were able to capture Zojila using tanks. As you can see from this map, Zojila Pass was lost as Colonel Mia Ghulam Jilani naively dismissed Pakistani lower commanders' apprehensions that Indians may use tanks after having miserably failed to capture the pass in various brigade size attacks. As you can see, official history noted that Jilani was told that Indians may use tanks but brushed aside this most grave apprehension expressed repeatedly by the defenders of Zojila Pass. Colonel Sikandar Khan, in his book published later on around 1976, also noted this fact that the reports were given to Jilani about Indian tanks being used, but Jilani totally dismissed these reports. So Pakistan lost Baltistan, or a very large part of Baltistan, thanks to Jilani and because of the myopic ineptitude and incompetence of Gracey, who was, as discussed, practicing the policy of look busy, do nothing, which became the ethos of the army thanks to Gracey, doing nothing. As you can see, Indian squadron of Stuart tanks was used, 7th Light Cavalry, they crashed through Zojila because the defenders had no anti-tank guns, and as you can see, the Indians relieved Kargil and went all the way to Leh. The later problems like Siachen and Kargil etc. were created because of this. Another of Gracey's biggest blunders, as you can see. In the next part, we will discuss Gracey's failure to initiate a strategic counterstroke like Operation Venus in early October 1948.